Hi guys. So I am going to be recording question number 1, and it's going to be talking about the different learning strategies that worked for me when I was in school, or still am, I guess. So I highlighted some things in my book, so I'm sorry if I'm kind of looking at the book and not at the camera all the time. But the first one that I wanted to talk about was the metacognitive strategies, and some of those really worked for me. Some of those consisted of using homework notebooks to write down assignments and keeping calendars and organizers, stuff like that. I still do that today as a teacher. It's what helps me get through my day. If I don't have everything planned out when I need to, then I'm going to be lost. Even for this class and previous classes before that I've taken, I always have a notebook written down what I have to do, when it has to be due, and kind of plan it out on when I'm going to have time to do it and when it needs to be done, that kind of thing. So I'm still continuing to do that even when it comes to lesson planning. Even during summer when I have so much going on, even though it's supposed to be a time to relax, I have my calendar either on my phone or in my planning notebook saying, where I need to be and what's going on during that time. So definitely the metacognitive strategies worked for me, and they always have. I think it was probably the biggest one. And different cognitive strategies, like using flashcards to test myself. The cognitive strategies and the social strategies really connected with me, but they go together, not separately, because flashcards would work, but only if I was doing it in groups. So if I just sat there by myself practicing with flashcards over and over again, it would be nowhere. It wouldn't work for me. I would just kind of make excuses up of why I don't have to do them at that time. But if I was ever in a group, it was so much easier to be with somebody and to study with them and to practice. And it was kind of the motivation that I needed, that person there, telling me, okay, what's next? What do you have to do next? And so I was definitely always that person that was needed to be, doing homework with a friend or studying in a group, in group work in class. Now, don't get me wrong, some group works depends. I'm the type of person that, always does my work, but sometimes you get stuck with that partner that just doesn't want to do anything. But definitely working in groups helped me, and studying with friends, it helped me remember. And they also kind of go along with that in a way of the memory strategies also, because me and my friends would always get together and we would think of ways to remember certain things. Like maybe in biology we had to remember some vocabulary or something. We'd either come up with a song or a phrase or something to help with that. It's actually funny going through all this book, looking at it and seeing all the different strategies, like the 9s trick when it comes to multiplication. I do that with my kids in school still. And different tricks like that, and the knuckle trick with the months of the year. I honestly didn't know that until I read this book. I knew that there was a way to do it on your hands, but I just never took the time to learn it. So now it's actually kind of cool that I read it and know how to do it. Another one on here is the Roy G. Biv for the colors of the rainbow. I learned that when I was really young in art class. But little things like that help me remember. I remember even family members saying, it's amazing how I can remember different songs on the radio and stuff like that. But songs work for me. I was always a person who was in chorus and did different stuff like that. So singing and helping myself memorize is really a huge thing for me, and I do it in my classes now. And it really helps. And it's not for everybody. So, there's many other ways that, students can learn and use different strategies. But I believe that social strategies, memory strategies, and the cognitive strategies are really the ones that worked for me. And, like I said before, the ones that didn't work for me were kind of the cognitive strategies too, because they had to go along with the social group. I was never one to study by myself. I just couldn't do it. I would have no motivation to do it. I don't like studying. So, being with a friend and having that backup and motivation, someone pushing you and saying, okay, you got this. And then, going into that is so much easier to have that backup also. So definitely keep that in mind as a teacher, thinking to teach all of these different strategies to your students and not just, okay, write down flashcards and that's all you can study. Different things that work for each individual student, and they're going to have to find that out on their own. I can give them all the strategies, but whatever works for them the best, and any of them are perfectly fine. So yeah, I would say those 3 work the best for me, and I actually learned a lot. I honestly didn't know that there was this many strategies to go off of. I never really thought of them that way. I just thought of them as, okay, this is how I study. But yeah, so there's question 1. I look forward to your responses. Thanks, guys.